Bonjour. Anishinaabe Panashi Indigenous Makwadodem Ojibwe. My English name is Robin Kavanagh. I'm the Director of Indigenous Peoples Collaborative Relations here at the Canadian Canoe Museum. And I'm also today in one of my favorite roles as a helper. So I'm glad to be a helper as part of this great event today. So to begin, as we begin in part of my cultural traditions, is to acknowledge the Creator and to acknowledge our first teacher. And our first teacher is a medicine, and it's tobacco. And we're taught in our teachings that tobacco comes first. So when we ask for things or we need guidance from elders, we always ensure that this medicine comes first. So today I would like to begin this by honoring Rebecca Laux from Curve Lake First Nation. She'll be sharing a land acknowledgement and a welcoming song with us. So thank you so much, Jen. Rebecca.
Anya, bonjour, Rebecca Lux, Dijnakas, Wishkigamon, Donjaba, Nagojwanan, Wigwem Dodam, Bijou Dodam. Hello, my name is Rebecca Lux. I am a member of Curve Lake First Nation. I am currently residing here in Peterborough, and I am from the Lynx clan. I want to welcome you today, and as a descendant of the Mississauga Anishinaabe of this territory, welcome you to our land. And I'm honored to be able to sing a song for you today. It's called the All Directions Song, and it's welcoming you in a good way, having the ancestors from the four directions to sing, to bless this event. Miigwech.
I'd like to acknowledge the land here and the territory of the Williams Treaties First Nations. I too am a visitor here. I'm originally from born in Spanish. My mother was born in Sagamok First Nation, so I'm honored to be visiting in this territory, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome one of the Williams Treaties First Nations chiefs, Laurie Carr, to share a welcome with us. So,
Ani bojo wawash keshto dam megazekwe dishnikas, Lori Jaganash Noswin, Michisagi Anishinaabe and Dao, Gima Hiawatha. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lori Carr. My Indigenous name is Eagle Woman. I'm from the Deer Clan, and I am Michisagi, which is Mississauga in English. And I'm here to provide a welcome, but I also wanted to add a little bit to the Canoe Museum, and also to welcome Minister Monsef and Minister Rodriguez to our territory, and to acknowledge Andy and Diane and Jeff, I see you back there, and MPP Smith, and all of you here today to our traditional territory of the Michisagi people. And it is Williams Treaty Territory and Treaty 20, which is over 200 years old. So in saying that, through this time that I've become chief, I've really built our relationship with Hiawatha and the Canoe Museum, not just myself, but our whole community. And I'm very grateful to be able to build that relationship and to see the Canoe Museum grow, and to see the events that are happening in regards to the support along the way that this museum is not only national but international in a way of all the visitors that it will receive. And we look forward to this long-standing relationship and wish you all the success as you move forward, and know that we will be there as part of Hiawatha to support you as you go along. And as part of the National Council member, I will certainly do what I can to see the success of the museum, as all our pieces as Indigenous peoples are in there too, in regards to that's how we traveled the waterways. So I look forward to seeing the growth, but also the end results as we move forward. Miigwech, thank you.
Miigwech, Chief Carr. I'd also like to next welcome Andy Dufresne from the Métis Nation of Ontario here today, and to give thanks and welcoming. Good.
Welcome and good morning, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, and our friends. The Métis Nation of Ontario welcomes today's announcement. We are all treaty people. Here at the Canadian Canoe Museum, we have great people doing great work, not only for our community, but for all Canadians. The displays of the canoes include many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis watercraft. For us, the Métis, the displays of the voyageurs and fur trade reflect a huge part of our history and our culture. Just last summer, the Métis Nation of Ontario held its annual General Assembly here in Peterborough, and the Canoe Museum was a showcase for us. We held our cultural gatherings and programs for our Métis citizens, and these citizens came across Ontario from the western provinces to tour this wonderful museum. Please continue your work, and may you have and find great success. Merci, thank you.
Miigwech, and thank you. Thank you for that. And I'd like to now turn the mic over to our board chair, John Ronson. So please, thank you. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you to Rebecca Lukes, Chief Carr, Andy Dufresne, and our own Robin Kavanaugh for beginning our time together in a very good way. My name is John Ronson, and I am the chair of the Canadian Canoe Museum Board of Directors. Thank you, Minister Rodriguez, for the invitation to come together today. We're thrilled that you and Minister Monsef are here. On behalf of the board, Bill Morris, Bill, there he is, and the Capital Campaign Cabinet and the entire museum community, welcome. And thank you all for being with us today. We have a full house here in the gallery, and we're also live streaming so that our friends from coast to coast to coast can be part of this. In fact, we're pleased to welcome Pamela Gross, the mayor of Cambridge Bay in Nunavut, who's here today. I'm not sure where you're sitting, Pamela. Thank you for joining us. You, our members and our volunteers, our partners, our supporters, you're the reason we are moving forward to the water's edge with such momentum. Speaking of supporters, I have the privilege of introducing a longtime friend of the museum, someone who truly understands the national scope and significance of the collection and what we're attempting with the new museum. She's shared our vision for this project and its place in Peterborough, Kawartha for many years, and she's been our greatest advocate. 2 years ago, on behalf of Canadian Heritage, she announced the funding that allowed us to proceed in earnest with the pre-construction phase of our new museum. I'm pleased to welcome back the Honorable Miriam Monsef.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Bonjour, Anin, salam alaikum. It is a great privilege to call this place on Treaty 20 territory home and to be here on this celebration of the hard work of so many here in this room, so many who've come before us, and so many watching us from across the country. Thank you so much, Robin, for helping to facilitate today's conversation. Rebecca, what a gift you are, and many thanks to Elder Dorothy Taylor for asking you to join us here today. Chief Carr, as always, you represent your people well, and it is wonderful to have you as a strong partner in this important work. And President Dufresne, you've been a supporter of this all along, and I appreciate that you too see the significance of this project for all of us. My honorable colleague, Pablo Rodriguez, the Minister for Canadian Heritage, is here to celebrate this important milestone with us. He's also brought us some money. So my job is to introduce him. I do have to acknowledge that Joe Taylor is here with us today. Former Speaker of the House Peter Milligan is with us here today. Mayor Janet Clarkson is with us. She's right over here. We also have the Warden of Peterborough County with us. Warden J. Murray Jones is here. Her Worship, Mayor Diane Tarian, is of course here with us today. Madam Mayor, it is wonderful to see you here as well. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I have to say how wonderful it is to see my honorable colleague Jeff Leal with us here today. The story of the Canoe Museum is a story of all hands on deck. Many people dreamed a big dream to even bring the collection together. And that dream was continued by people who decided to house it. And then the dream got bigger when the partnership with Parks Canada was announced. And it's great to see Jewel Cunningham and Chad from Parks Canada here. The decision to move this collection to the water's edge was a courageous dream that the board and the team at the Canoe Museum had, and you get your courage knowing that your community's got your back. So the community that's wrapped around the Canoe Museum from coast to coast to coast, thank you. The story of how we've gotten here is a success story that I hope we all continue to tell and retell, because this is how big dreams come to life. So Jeff Leal was able to secure $9 million following our $1.4 million investment in the Canoe Museum. And that got all of us working a bit harder to make sure that we were able to continue to enhance the investment from the federal government. That required, though, strong partnerships with the city and the county and First Nations in this community. And how wonderful that all orders of government stepped up and invested in this really important project. For me, when I was trying to come up with a local campaign platform, I hosted 10 roundtables with community leaders. The Trent Severn Waterway came up, public transit came up, jobs came up, youth internships and co-ops came up. And of course, the Canadian Canoe Museum came up as an investment that our government needed to make. The canoe as a vessel for reconciliation, the Canoe Museum as a significant economic driver for our community. Some 1,000 jobs will be created because of this, and the economic impact of the museum moving to the water's edge will be over $111 million. The Government of Canada has believed in this project since the very beginning. We see this as a cultural asset in our community, as a way to shine light on other cultural strengths and other artists in our community. And here to introduce and announce the federal government's investment in this really important community effort is my honorable colleague, my seatmate, both in his time as Chief Government Whip and now my seatmate in Cabinet as the Minister of Cultural Heritage, is Pablo Rodriguez. He's joined here by Elliot Lockington, who's played a really key role in this effort, as well as my team members. Lauren Hunter is here. Lauren Essiam is not here. Harry Burton and Peter Mitchell are in the back. And my honorable colleague, Kim Rudd, wanted to be here. I know that she's a big supporter of the Canoe Museum, but she had house duty. So please welcome the guy who is going to make the announcement and continue this big dream for us, the Honorable Minister Pablo Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, Minister, dear Miriam. Thank you for the kind words, and it's great to be here. Also, thank you for the prayer and the beautiful song. You have such a beautiful voice. I'd love to have it, but I don't. Mesdames et messieurs, dignitaries, bonjour à tous. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me on the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe. And I have to say, I'm really, really happy to be here today. This museum is fantastic. If you don't see it, it's hard to believe, hard to imagine that it's so wonderful. It's one of Canada's best secrets. And I have to say that in many ways, the museum is like, it's a beautiful, in French we say homage. I think we can say it also in English, right? It's a beautiful homage to our identity as Canadians. Because for Canadians, canoe is truly iconic. Many of us have grown up spending summers paddling on the lake. Some of us newer to the country, which is my case also, came from Argentina. Not many canoes over there, but I discovered it here. I tried my best, tried to figure out how to steer the thing. It took a while, but I managed to do it at 40. And so the canoe also tells us that the story of our country, the story of indigenous peoples who lived here long before the settlers arrived. So as keepers of our collective memories, cultural spaces like this one are really, really, really important. And as we all know, museums are great for a local community. They bring people together, they attract tourists, they create jobs, and they help keep our cities, our communities, more vibrant places to call home. So while some people think that maybe we shouldn't invest that much in culture, I think quite the opposite. I think that we strongly believe in culture and museums, and we think that we should invest more, actually, so we can help places like this one here. So that's why we were here in 2017 to support phase one, and that's why we're here today. My predecessor, Mélanie Joly, committed 1.4 million to the development of architectural and engineering plans for the project. And today, my friends, you were talking about money, so I'm pleased to announce that we're investing an additional $10 million in the new museum. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you guys did applause because it was written applause here. So thank you. Thank you. So the funds will go towards the construction of the new facility, which will include exhibit galleries, collection center, research center, classrooms, as well as artisan skills and canoe building workshops. So altogether, this investment is the second largest cultural infrastructure investment in all of Ontario, and that includes Toronto, so which is a city not too far from here. So, and I have to say that Minister Monsef is not stranger to this because when she fights for something, as she said, she's my seatmate. So I didn't know much about the museum, but after a while I became to know a lot. And when it's true. So she fought really hard, and we're here today. Congrats. And a museum honoring the canoe should not be landlocked. It should be connected to the surrounding waters, and soon this vision will be a reality. Thank you very much.
Wow. This is pretty unbelievable. This is by far, as you've said, this is the largest investment in the museum in our entire history. And I think I can say on behalf of the entire community that's gathered here right now, surrounded by this wonderful collection, and those that are paying attention online, thank you. Thank you to the work that has gone in to make this possible. Thank you very much. Minister Rodriguez, support from the Department of Canadian Heritage has and continues to be really critical to the success of this particular project. The collection and the stories that it represents are pivotal to our understanding of our history, and it will also play a really important role in how we share our future. Our collective futures will be shaped by the work that this organization does. And we feel really strongly about that. Minister Monsef, you've seen this vision from the beginning. And I want to thank you for that. We're so grateful to you and to the work of the Government of Canada for making this a reality. So thank you. The new museum will be built next to two National Historic Sites, the Peterborough Lift Lock and the Trent Severn Waterway. Both of these are on the traditional territory of the Williams Treaties First Nations. And this partnership with Parks Canada and our Williams Treaty First Nations, with this partnership, we are building pretty much one of the world's most significant cultural and recreational destinations. It'll be nothing else quite like it. And we're really fortunate that it's happening here in Peterborough. So thank you for that. The new museum space, I'm going to share with you something special, but I want to prep you. The new museum space will feature 100% of the collection under one roof. Okay? There'll be a research and knowledge center built right in, and the permanent exhibitions. These will ensure, when we're designing the permanent exhibitions, we are making sure that First Nations, Inuit, and Métis stories and perspectives are meaningfully and authentically shared through these exhibitions in their own voice. This is really important work that's happening and just getting underway with our team. The museum will have a dedicated canoe building studio so that visiting builders from across the country can come here and build and share their skills with youth and other leaders. We are building dedicated education classrooms so students can get their hands dirty in a space that is just theirs. We're also building a number of community spaces because these projects rely on our local community to find themselves in this space. And so these community spaces will include the cafe, a public galleria, an almost 100-foot-long cascading waterfall down the main staircase of the galleria, almost 2-acre living green roof, which will act as a community park, accessible to people at all times of day, and not to mention the event center. This is a community hub that there is nothing like it in the region, and we want people coming to the Canoe Museum. So we're building that into the space. So I'm going to reveal to you, for the first time ever publicly, a fly-through video of your new Canadian Canoe Museum. So find a screen and watch a screen. So there you go. Pretty great, eh? Woo! So this project is coming to fruition in the spirit of partnership. There are lots and lots of people that are making this project happen. Its impact will be local, certainly. It'll definitely be provincial. It's national. It's even international. I'd like to acknowledge our lead donor, which is the W. Garfield Weston Foundation. Unfortunately, nobody was able to join us today, but I'm pretty sure they're watching online. So thank you for your contribution. And I'd like to also thank many of the other private donors who've shared this belief from the beginning and gotten us to the point where we are today. It wouldn't be possible without you. At this time, I would like to invite MPP Dave Smith, Warden J. Murray Jones, and Mayor Diane Tyrion up to the podium to share your reflections on the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, today is a great day. More than $10 million has been given by the federal government, $10 million today, but $1.4 million prior to that. And as was stated earlier, the province of Ontario did give $9 million over 3 years. We are in the third year of that. It is the Canoe Museum. It is a cultural center. It is a heritage center. But more importantly for our local community, this is a tourist destination. This is something that brings people into our community. Tourism represents $34 billion in Ontario. And it is wonderful to see that not only the province but the federal government has recognized that this is really one of those gems. We have an opportunity to build something in this community that no other community in Canada has, and it is beside 2 national heritage sites. I don't know if anyone has spent very much time with the lift lock itself, but the Grand Lady will be looking across at the Canoe Museum, seeing something else that is grand and adds to that splendor. I'm happy that I'm part of this today. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here, and it is wonderful that we'll be breaking ground on this because it's going to add so much more to our community. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. As Warden of the County of Peterborough, I do have to express our appreciation for being part of this whole project right from day one. You know, John here was introduced as the board chair. I just want you to know I was sitting behind him. He's far from bored. He's really excited about the whole project. But Peterborough County is a partner in this entire project, and when you sit back and think about the huge regional impact that this will bring to all of us, we are so proud. We're proud to be part of Canada, and I think this just underlines that just a little bit more. My famous saying, every time I seem to speak, is we're all in this together. Well, you know what? We all jumped in the canoe at the same time. We're all in it together, and we're all going down the river in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here with you on Anishinaabe territory, and thank you so much to all the dignitaries and for bringing welcome and opening this in a good way. And thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. This is a tremendous opportunity. This has been a long project, as you all know, and a huge shout out to all the volunteers at the museum, on the board, everybody who's been committed to this project from the get-go. It really is that partnership of all levels of government, city, county, province, feds, First Nations, Métis, Inuit, everybody coming together to help get this built. And it's going to be, as we heard, a great economic draw. It's going to be a great cultural institution, and it is a great example of what we can achieve when we all work together. So, Chimigwech, merci beaucoup. Thank you so much. We look forward to visiting it when it's built.
Bonjour. As another part of my teachings, like the one when I shared a little bit about this morning about the tobacco, and I encourage everybody that in your travels, as you come across Indigenous peoples or communities that are using tobacco, to please honor them and ask them their teachings on this medicine, because they vary from nation to nation, and I only share the little I know from the elders I've worked with. So also another part of my teachings in that aspect of reciprocity and honoring people when they arrive with a gift of tobacco is to also ensure that when you leave, and part of our appreciation, like we were honored last week in Hiawatha, we had a community dinner, and we shared our stories with them, and at the end of the evening they shared a gift with us. So in following in those footsteps and those teachings, we'd like to share a little gift with some of you. So I will proceed with a little gift, and I must say that there was 4 helpers this morning when we met here at work, Kelly, Beth, Victoria, and Jen, that helped me prepare these little canoes with the 4 medicines in them. We smudged and gave thanks, and so we infused them with kindness and love, and we want to share that with the people that they're being shared with. So I just wanted to share that with you. So I'm going to pass around a few of these, so just bear with me for a minute. I just wanted to honor a new friend, Pamela Gross, who's traveled the farthest to be with us here today. So and I might be heading that way, so I think it's a good thing to do. There is the elders have always taught us that when we end things, we end them in a good way. And we like to use the term econogana, all my relations. So, miigwech. Oh. John?
You're wonderful, Robin. Thank you. We're so pleased to have you as part of our team at the museum. You always forget people. There are always people in the audience. I'd just like to acknowledge a few more, and then we'll probably still miss others. Councillor Gary Baldwin, I see you back there. Thank you for joining us. Gary's going to be the city's representative to the board. Thank you for agreeing to take that on. One of the minister's staffers got mentioned, but DG, I'd like to call you out as well too. You've been a huge help on this file in addition to Elliot Lockington. And on the public servant side, Val Hopper, thank you to you and your team for helping shepherding this along. But also, I have to say, as a taxpayer, I appreciate the due diligence you put us through as well, too. Like to make sure that this project was solid, and good for you. I applaud you. What a momentous day. I mean, there's no other word for it than momentous. And really, together we are inspiring Canada by Canoe. And I'm a guy who's paddled for most of my life, went to summer camp as a kid, grew up in Canada, not Argentina minister, but it's a sort of a it's a bit of a rite of passage here, and thrilled to be the board chair at this pivotal moment in the museum's history. We've got a national role to play, and from its new home, we feel will be well positioned to play that role. So thank you, Minister Rodriguez, along with Minister Monsef, for this incredible $10 million investment. $10 million, it's kind of a nice round figure. Could we say it again? $10 million. I mean, this truly is a pivotal moment as we work to build the new museum. Our lead supporters have the opportunity to contribute to the carving of our ceremonial paddle, just as they are contributing to our journey to the new museum. This paddle will be prominently displayed in the new museum, and I'd like to invite Minister Rodriguez to carve our ceremonial paddle and for Minister Monsef to join him. And I'd also invite Carolyn, Chief Carr, and Andy Dufresne, and Rebecca, if you'd like to come up too, you'd be most welcome. Yeah, thank you very much. Who's teaching this? Is there instructions required? Carolyn? All right. Yeah.
Have a seat. Yep. Yep. Okay.
All right. You don't want to participate?
Okay. So you're just drawing it back towards yourself with your hands out of the way, like you're riding a bike. Okay?
There is an expert.
Adding pressure to your foot pedal. Just to hold it. That's
Just to
lands
hold.
in it.
Oh, there. That's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this concludes the formal part of the program. Thank you all for joining us, and you're welcome to join us for light refreshments on the main floor of the museum immediately following. So thank you again for joining us, and Minister, for a great day.
Thank you.